Hello, everyone. If you're watching our recording, it's Thursday, December 4th, and this is our first EdCamPOKC hangout to talk about planning, and we're starting a little bit earlier than we have the last 2 years, so hopefully that is a good thing. So because we don't all know each other, and June may, I don't know if June knows everybody or not, why don't we just kind of go around and maybe we've changed what we're doing too, so we can just kind of update each other. Wes Fryer teaching STEM at Independence Elementary. We got the annual Apple Distinguished Program visit tomorrow, so got like 17 people coming to my room to see my kids working on prosthetic hands and doing their maker studio, and hopefully not embarrassing our school. It's always interesting when we have that many visitors come in to kind of see what we're doing. So, Anne, you want to tell us what you're up to these days?
Yes, I am Ann Beck. I work at Clinton Public Schools as an instructional technology specialist, and we've been busy. So far, it's been a really, really good year. A lot of teachers really getting outside the box, and it's just been fantastic. Been real good. Been busy, but a good busy. So.
And is this your fourth year of iPad 1-to-1 or third? Or
Well, this is my second year working at Clinton, and I think we really kind of call it our second year. I mean, the years before it was just in pockets, but this is our second year being fully integrated, I would say, more in the middle school and high school and in elementary. So.
Okay. And June has chimed in the text chat that it's his second year as tech director, and he had been assistant principal previously and taught science prior to that and more at Memorial and Norman North. So definitely a bunch of metro perspectives, and we're so excited to be coming to more for for EdCamp. So Julie, how about you? What's up with you?
I'm Julie Gathright, and I am still with Oklahoma City Public Schools as an educational technology coach. So just working with teachers trying to integrate technology into their curriculum.
Very good. And you all have a few new faces on your team, right? Are you guys fully staffed at 7?
We're fully staffed at 7. Yeah. So we have 2 openings. Arthur and John Marshall are going to get their own version of us. So.
Okay. Well, that is exciting. All right. Well, I definitely want to keep us on track and done by 8, and we can kind of talk at the end as far as when we think we need to tune in again, but probably after the holiday break. But we can kind of see. We've done this twice now, so hopefully we're getting better about our collaboration. But I'll just kind of go down the dock a little bit, and you guys chime in with questions and discussion, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out a few answers as far as volunteers, because I think trying to make sure we're covering our bases with with our plans for volunteers and who wants to do what is our kind of our main objective to get the ball rolling a little bit. So before I actually get into the updates, there is an EdCamp that is happening in Tulsa in January, which I'm pretty sure is January the 25th. And so I was contacted by some of their folks in Tulsa Public Schools and finally had a hangout this on Monday briefly, but they're excited about hosting, and we were waiting on a flyer that they were kind of updating, so hopefully I think that probably is in my email. I had a couple meetings last
January 25th?
25th, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's a Sunday. So probably the 24th?
Oh, okay. Shoot, does it say 25th somewhere?
No, I'm just looking on my Google Calendar, and the 25th.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Hopefully I didn't
put it down. If I don't, I will forget. Do you think maybe the 24th?
Yeah, it's whatever that last
Saturday.
Saturday is. So the flyer that's on, 24th. The flyer that's on there, I say it couldn't be. The Google Summit that's going to be at Bishop McGuinness the week before EdCamPOKC actually is a Saturday and Sunday, which is kind of crazy. I hadn't seen that, but anyway, the flyer is going to get updated. That's on that page, but we can go ahead and start letting people know after tonight. After we hang up, I'll fix the flyer, so that should be done. So the Eventbrite registration is up for that, and they are actually going to, I think, get both breakfast and lunch sponsored, which will be a little bit different than what we've done. So folks won't have to leave at all. But they've got their curriculum department, and I think Samantha is. They don't really have an instructional technology director, but they've got a group of several different curriculum people and ed tech, different ed tech hat people that are taking the lead on that. So we do have Southmoore High School confirmed, thanks to June, and Tammy Parks had been in conversation with our OU contact to see about. We had talked about the possibility of doing this at OU. We had, for the record, we haven't had a formal meeting together as a team since the end of EdCampOKC. Julie and I had visited at EdCamp Stillwater, and I had talked with Toby, and maybe visited with Dan a little bit. I think that Dan and Tammy were pretty accessibility, felt strongly EdCamp, and even though it's great to have higher ed involved and we want higher ed to be transformed, EdCamp is really about K-12, and so having been to a couple other EdCamps and visiting, so we didn't have making the offer for talked about the possibility of doing something at Piedmont, and never had anything confirmed. To have to try to lock in a location for next year. We definitely, I think, want to look at a date for next year, but that could be something that we could lock in a lot earlier, and we could I talked to Julie about that. And do you have a thought about?
I'm going to kind of move around a little bit. I can barely hear you guys are cutting in and out. I think it's my internet.
Opinion?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, you guys are cutting in and out. I didn't really get to hear much about it except for the K-12, and I agree with you about the K-12 versus higher ed thing, but I'm not hearing very well, so I'm kind of moving around, trying to get a better internet spot.
Okay, all right, you've gone back to your avatar. So, so basically we've got the website updated with Eventbrite. I did a very not very good flyer with my Apple Pages and design skills. So if somebody would like to do a nicer marketing flyer, we certainly could have somebody do that. But I got that done over the holiday, and basically, we want to, I think, go ahead and do a push so that people can get this on their calendar. And with the EdCamp in Tulsa being close, we'll let people know about both opportunities. But we had, I think, around 100 the first year, maybe it was more like 80 or something, and we were between 100 and 150 this last year. So, hopefully we're going to be somewhere between 100 and 200 people, and I would definitely like to see us get the word out more in mainstream media this time, and maybe we can talk about who might want to kind of help with that, and because it'd be great to be able to get some coverage in the Tulsa World and the Daily Oklahoman and other newspapers to try and get the word out and promote that. So let's the main things I think to kind of talk about, and we can scroll down the document and see what kinds of changes we talked about from last year that we might want to implement. Probably the first thing to look at is just our schedule and what that looks like. EdCamp New Jersey just happened again maybe 2 weeks ago, and for the schedule this year, I basically kind of copied what they had, and it's I think the last 2 years, we've had the SmackDown after lunch, but we've also pushed things a little bit later, or the schedule has been, and we always lose a lot of people, after the lunch session or after lunch. So one of the feedbacks from last year was, less networking time. Go ahead and get things started a little bit sooner. So we've got the first set. We still have 2 sessions in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, but things basically starting a little bit sooner, and then having a share out or a smackdown at the end as we give out prizes and stuff. Julie and what do you guys think about the smackdown? And do you think we should keep it after lunch as a kind of a buffer thing with time as people come back from lunch, or what do you guys think about the schedule?
I like it at the end. That's the way it was at the first ed camp I ever went to, and that was just that was our top, that was our closure, and so it was just kind of neat because Cyberry Man was there and was throwing a globe to people who was sharing, and so I mean it was kind of the thing that tied everything at the end together. So I like it better at the end. I don't really like it after lunch, so I wasn't ever a big fan of that.
Okay, Julie, do you have an opinion about that?
No, it's fine. I mean, I like it after lunch because then you can get people strolling in, and then you also get them back from lunch too. But I don't have a preference. It's fine at the end of the day because, like Ann said, it's like a closure kind of thing. Anybody can share. It doesn't have to be like an app. It can be, hey, I learned this new thing that I'm going to take back and do. So.
Right. Well,
I like to see more of a share where we shared the new connections that we made and how we're going to keep those connections up afterwards, because I think that's really important, especially with us being so centralized and even all the stuff that's coming up in our area. We're not working on what we're sharing, it's how we continue to share it and continue being that support system for Woodward or for Sharon Mutual, not just viewing, but, so I'd like to see even that being incorporated as people sharing the connections that they made and friends that they made, that they didn't know before they came in. I think that's powerful, and getting that on video to share too would be good.
Right, definitely. And we could have some sessions. Like I guess, and one thing to talk about here in a minute in the schedule is how we want to handle that this year as far as the creation of the schedule and stuff like that. If we want to do that as we've done in the past, but I don't know. I mean, people do always enjoy, apps and things like that for quick sharing, but there's nothing to say we couldn't, have some sessions that focused on that, versus trying to push everybody towards the closing session to do that. I kind of liked how they called it a share out, at the end of the New Jersey one, to emphasize it's not just about apps, this is about sharing.
Well, with all this talk of like this 2.0, making EdCamp, I mean, I don't know, I like how the EdCamp model is now for me still, and just kind of like you said, calling it a share out now and, tweaking those things to where it's still a new experience for those of us that have been to multiple EdCamps, you know what I mean, like keeping that
right.
fresh, I think is neat, because I don't want to make different levels of EdCamps, like a hierarchy of EdCamp, but twisting things here and there like this is what keeps us all still coming,
Right. Have you all heard anything about other ed camps coming in 2015, like any other places in Oklahoma that want to have one, or?
No, I really, like I said earlier, I really agree with your K-12 stance. But I do think that maybe the one in Stillwater, because I really did enjoy that one for totally different reasons, though. It was more of a, kind of like mixing a veteran teacher with the teacher that is going to be out in the field the next year or so. And so, I mean, maybe even putting a stamp on that one where that one goes back and forth from OSU to OU every year, but that's what that one is focused on maybe, is that pre-service teacher and stuff. But I really hope that they do something similar to that, because it was nice to be with pre-service teachers. But I don't know if they kind of felt like it flopped, I thought.
Hey, June's on here twice. We're hearing audio from your phone, I think. So.
Yeah, I'm switching over to the phone.
Hey, there's your voice. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I had to do that a while back too, because my iPhone worked, but my computer didn't. So there you go. The benefit of multiple devices.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, since we can hear your voice, do you want to chime in a little bit with anything as far as your situation and who you visited with and kind of where you're at with the EdCamp conversations and more?
Well, being a new process with you guys, it's pretty exciting. I've visited with our curriculum coordinator, Dr. Cobb, been talking with our technology integration specialists, and so we're kind of excited about what's going on. My technicians are kind of nervous because I told them we need to open up the Wi-Fi and add some new switches. So they're kind of going, why are we doing this? And so it's a training for them, being not quite used to being pushed this hard with this stuff. So it's been a good adventure so far.
Well, I'll say that for both Yukon and Oklahoma City that hosted the last 2 years, I think I can say with confidence for both that it was a good push to have a policy defined on the network to have a conference setting, because I think Yukon might have had that but might not have used it at the scale that EdCamp was, and Oklahoma City I definitely don't think did. So it was a really good push to have a setting, that was going to be more open as far as filtering and, getting IT to shift in that way so they would be accommodating a more open PD networking. So
it will be a true test. So what we're planning to do is just tear down the filter that day.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
We'll see what happens.
What we did in Yukon, and is basically kept porn filter on, and that was it. I think pretty much everything else was open. So, and we, I think we definitely want to be, as supportive and sensitive to our host districts' situation and circumstances, and really, bring you guys in as much as you would like. This is an all-volunteer effort, and we've got a lot of people who are passionate about EdCamp. I love the fact that this gets us together in ways that we might not, be getting together otherwise, even at an OTA or some other kinds of conferences and stuff like that. So we've had some people come and go as far as, we had some of the folks from I was trying to say Bishop McGinnis, who were our friends from our other private school. This is being recorded, so I'm going to look like an idiot not being able to remember their name. I think I'm getting old. Who was our curriculum director and the husband and wife team that helped us the first year? Gosh, I don't remember. I need to go back and look. Anyway, there's been a lot of connections that have happened that might not have happened otherwise, as far as between folks that are supporting technology and working these issues with their schools and stuff like that. So if there's anybody else that you'd like to bring on, what we've usually done is we have had every other week, and then leading right up to it every week, a Google Hangout to just touch base about details and stuff like that. So. Everybody hasn't been able to, make every one, but, different people have taken the lead on volunteering for different things, and some of the local stuff as far as the details with the rooms and the maps and the Wi-Fi. I mean, those are the big pieces, but these other things as far as sponsorships and T-shirts and things like that. If any of this you have people that you'd like to bring in, please, we'll set up our next meeting date as far as when we want to get together. But this is very much an open and inclusive group, so I don't want you to, feel like we all have our territory staked out and don't want, anybody new here. We certainly want anybody who would like to help out and participate. And like I said, I think we want to, embrace any of the folks on your team that you'd like to bring in, who'd like to be involved as far as being able to talk through some of these things, get questions answered, and make sure they're feeling comfortable with their piece of the puzzle.
Will do. I'll also reach out to Norman Schools. They've got a new director there, so they're making a lot of new changes on their end, and I know they want to be just as involved. So I'll reach out to them on the Norman side and try to get some more help, or at least some more bodies that you may need as it comes up.
Right. That sounds great. So, Julie, from your perspective, last year in Oklahoma City, being your first EdCamp, what advice would you give to June and thinking about hosting and organizing and stuff?
I don't know. I mean, we were just I think participating in these were very helpful. I mean, so we could actually have a conversation and cross all T's and dot all I's. So, just making sure that we have everything done and testing things out before before the actual day of the event. I mean, we spent many a days at Grant last year testing things out and making sure things were working. So.
Okay.
Because it was a big change as far as the wireless. I mean, I think it was the first open event like that.
Right.
I think that they had on the filter. So definitely having the support of, the tech director, Eric, and then we had Amanda James, who's now at Classen, but she was there at Grant, involved, and so that might be something as well if you want to bring in any of the assistant principals or anybody like that from their team.
And that might be good when we start, talking about rooms and things like that, so we can pinpoint, we want to use this wing or that wing or these rooms or what we want to do.
Okay. I'll reach out to Eric. You're talking about Eric Holman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll reach out to him and see what I need to be prepared for as far as the IT side.
Sure.
Southmore's pretty easy layout. It's north and south ends, upstairs, downstairs. It's a mirror image.
Perfect.
So it'll be a pretty easy deal.
And that might be good when we start, talking about rooms and things like that, so we can pinpoint, we want to use this wing or that wing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Amanda James, there she is. Hello, Amanda.
I'll reach out to her and see what I need to be prepared for as far as the IT side. South pretty easy layout. North and south end, upstairs, downstairs. It's a mirror image.
Perfect.
I think we're hearing an echo, actually.
We are.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds familiar. Let's see. That may be, Amanda, you may want to mute. We may want people just to go ahead and mute if you're not talking, and then we got a few of us on the call now. Could be me, but since we don't have a headset. Okay. All right. So, in terms of, and June, you may be able to mute as well. I think that may be some background from your locale there.
Trying to figure out how to mute on an iPhone is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's right. That's why, there you go. That's why they say making iMovies on iPhones is like painting on a grain of rice. So, yeah, if you can get that to work, that's great. The other thing I put into the Google Doc that we can, mention and promote is I've set up the EdCamPOKC.org site and the Google Calendar. So if any of us hear about any other events that are happening EdCamp-wise, please let me know, and I'm happy to share access to that with anybody else who'd like to kind of help keep that up. But I would just basically love to, amplify all of the EdCamp-related events that are going to be happening, and encourage folks to do more of these, and just support other people who are doing it. So Amanda, we had mentioned before you came that Tulsa is going to have an EdCamp on January 24th. So
I've been for a while. I just was watching on a different way and wasn't connected somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you got to connect live. In fact, I haven't gone back. There may be some other people who've commented on the actual document that we need to pull in. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Oh, Jeff Herbal is saying he didn't show an invite. Oh, okay. And Patrick Duffy. All right. Let me see if I can do a direct invite. The one thing I did learn this was actually doing the Hangout with Tulsa, was that once you start a Hangout, if you copy the direct address in your window, you can, IM that or email that to people, and they can directly use that to join. So, I don't know. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to. Does anybody have Jeff Herbal's Google?
Who is that? That name sounds familiar.
He's the tech director in Enid, and maybe he is watching us. I don't know if I've got. This is where this is another. If you can have a, comma separated list of people's email addresses that are their Google. Okay, here you go. I've got his Enid address. That you can copy and paste into the invitation, then that can be handy to start the Hangout or to get them invited. So, all right, I'm putting in Jeff's email because it looks like he was trying to watch. All right. somebody's ringing. Got a lot of other sounds going. Okay, so it looks like we've agreed to our schedule. We kind of like having our share out at the end. One of the other changes from last year I put in was I think it'd be awesome if we could have a videography team. At Tulsa last year, I think this was the one at Jenks. They had a student team put together a great video that's one of the best Oklahoma EdCamp videos that's been done. And June, I don't know if that's something that you guys would have some students at Memorial at Westmore that might be interested in. Hey, there's Jeff.
I'll take a look, and we do have some videography classes, so I'll reach out to them and see if they can do that as a project.
Yeah, that would be awesome because I think that's really great documentation to have as far as at that time capturing some different opinions and some different voices. So we've had 2 new people. Oh, go ahead, Ann.
Well, we have a production team too that I think would probably be real interested in maybe coming.
And it'd be awesome to have more than one. I think that's something that we don't have a lot of as far as student participation. I mentioned to Samantha and the Tulsa group when we talked on Monday that having like a maker space and maybe a spot for students to showcase some of the robotics or some of the STEM stuff or those kind of things that they're doing might be kind of neat to have as a space that kind of stayed throughout the EdCamp. But it would be awesome, I think, to get students involved in that way, either for videos and.
I love that idea, and I know at Classen we had some students who put together a video for a play that they produced, and it was wonderfully done. So maybe I could, if we all reach out to our tech people or student
media teams.
Yeah.
And that would be great. It would be really good. Well, Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll pass the mic to Jeff, since you guys have joined a little late. Just tell everybody who you are and what you do.
All right. I'm Amanda James. I'm assistant principal at Classen SAS in the city. Like Wesley said, I used to be at US Grant, and I helped with EdCamPOKC a little bit last year, and I'm excited to be helpful this year.
Awesome. How about you, Jeff?
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay. Jeff Herbal, IT Director at Enid. I've been here 5.5 years. Spent 12 years in Oklahoma City IT Department.
5.5 years, man. That time has flown by. At least I don't know if it's for you, but it seems like
I've almost spent half the time in Enid that I did in the city. That's
wow. And a proud daddy with pictures I'm continuing to see on Facebook.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
11-week-old. Lots of fun.
Wow. First Christmas coming up.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we kind of look at volunteer needs and talk about committees a little bit, anything else from last year stand out as far as something that we'd like to change, something that we want to do different, or something that you've just been thinking about or seen at other ed camps?
What about the lunch thing? I think that may, I know a lot of people like to get out, but I've been in an ed camp where they had the lunches donated. It was like a box lunch. I don't know if you wanted to have people reserve them if they all want to stay there first or what, but
that's a huge benefit to not have to leave and just not lose your momentum. Do we want to?
Then we get people that will come to our thing at the end, because I love when a lot of people come to the meet up at the end, and if they're not spending their money on lunch, then they may spend their money and time with us afterwards too. So.
Right.
The partake.
The schedule is it's a little earlier too, as far as the post event. Anybody else have an opinion about trying to go for that for box lunches for sponsors?
I like it because I think at OKC last year we lost a lot of people at lunch. A lot of people took a long lunch and came back late. I also like how you said earlier about not as much network time in the beginning and just getting started. I totally agree with that. I like the idea of the share out instead of the app smackdown at the end, and kind of because I think people really like that, and keeping them there for the very end would be good. So I'm good with all three of those.
Okay. Julie, what do you think? Is that a yes? You were muted, so I think that was an affirmative no.
Sorry, yes.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. I think that's fine.
Well, the key for that really is just having some folks work for sponsorships and beat the bushes for us to try to do that. And I think we certainly could. I don't know. I have been lazy. I think the past couple of years, just we've gotten the donation for breakfast to be paid for, and then we've had prizes, but we really haven't had anything else. So this year we're going to do an insurance policy, which it's something that different ed camps have done, but that's one of the things that Moore requires, and other ed camps have done that as well, to basically do like $1 million comprehensive event insurance policy. I'm going to talk with our Story Chasers group to see about them possibly covering that to sponsor it, or it's something that we could get somebody else to sponsor and cover. If we have groups, we have not ever taken money into a fund for EdCamp. We've just had sponsors directly pay for like the sponsored breakfast. And the worst case is if it would fall through, we could end up having people go out for lunch. But yeah, I think let's go for it, and then we can have our sponsorship folks basically, besides prizes, chase those three things: the breakfast stuff, a box lunch, and then covering our insurance costs. Like I say, I think the insurance cost stuff we can do through our Story Chasers group, which is a 501c3 that I'm a part of, and I think we can definitely spring for that.
Hey Wes, what's the cost of the insurance?
I'm not positive. I'm thinking it's going to be in the range of a few $100s, but I'm gonna reach out to a few friends who've done ed camps and had a similar situation to find out what they've paid, and then we'll get a couple different price quotes. So if any of you guys have a particular insurance person or somebody like that you recommend, or that we should get a quote.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Sorry. This thing is like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay.
Hey, Wes, I have a question. Can we maybe get the T-shirts together quicker to sell? Because if we need a fund for EdCamPOKC, I think that's a place where we could get a few dollars on each T-shirt. But we do it. At least last year, it was so last minute.
Right.
That I think that would be good. And I don't really know the whole process of getting T-shirts done, but I know that we have some amazing artists at my school. Would it be okay if I at least got them to do the design?
If you would love to head the T-shirt, volunteer committee, that would be great. The history of what we have kind of done with that was, what's the name of the group that Dan's friend runs? Mint.
Well, it's Mint, but Leslie has been handling that. And she put something on the document. Was that from last year, or was that from this year?
That was from last year, right? So the first year Dan did that with his friend from Mint, but then Leslie picked up the ball and got it. But you're totally right. We got that going a little bit too late, and so that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation, because the more we can, start the ball rolling, so that we could. So that after Christmas, everything could ideally be in place as far as, we've got the registration and stuff, but T-shirt sign-ups, we can get our sponsor stuff lined up so that kind of stuff can be finalized. That would be great. So would you be interested, Amanda, in not only getting some designs and stuff, but working with either the Mint folks or somebody else to do the T-shirts, or do you just want to do the design piece?
No, I don't mind heading that up. That would be fine with me. I just would need the contact information for whoever you want me to work with, but I'm good to go.
Awesome. Okay, well, we will put you down as in charge of T-shirts, and I'll forward you that information. I'm pretty sure I've still got that from Dan. And we don't have to go with them, but I think they've pretty much given us a pretty good price of break even. I don't think they even tag a lot on. But if you want to get some quotes from some other folks and go with somebody else, that would be good as well.
Okay.
However you want to handle that. Yeah. All right.
And they're good quality of T-shirts, but they are a little bit more expensive than what we'll find around. But I've got like 4 of them, and they last and they're soft.
They're nice. Yeah.
They're nice.
And it's great to have a good. Does anybody want to chime in with a color preference? Not that this is the most important issue we have to talk about today, but
I like black. I don't like colored shirts. I like black, and I like the Tulsa ones last year. I like
the navy blue with the yellow. Yeah, I like those too.
They last longer for me.
The yellow, I didn't really like the yellow too much.
What about the black and white?
That's
Black and gray. What do you think?
I
Sure.
like anything gray or black, so I'm good on that. Blah.
Black or gray? All right.
How about if we have a black T-shirt and I'll have the mock-up white lettering and then like light gray lettering as well, and then we can decide which one we like best.
Okay, that sounds good. And I don't know what you guys think about this. If we have a bank account or whatever, as far as taking in funds, we could totally do that, and I think you're right, Amanda. We could make some money on that. But I think with the way the sponsorships work, I'm comfortable, having a direct payment thing where we're not having to worry about that. It's a little bit less of a headache where we'll need to, have a bank account, keep track of it, figure that kind of stuff out. So, I'm happy for T-shirts to just be, direct payment to the group that's selling them, and if we need to have some inventory or whatever to sell at the event, we could do that. But I don't know. Does anybody else have a thought about that as far as the bank account question?
I just didn't know if we needed money to like pay for the insurance part. Was my only thought.
Yeah, we can get that covered. I mean, it's just I think the Chick-fil-A was like maybe $200 or maybe it was $250, something like that. I'm thinking that the insurance is going to be. Does anybody else have experience with that to do event insurance like this for about 200 people?
I can see if we did anything for that. I mean, recharge. We probably need to think about that if we didn't before, because we had close to that many people the first year. So I'll talk to Kevin. I mean, I thought he would be in here today, but I'm sure that they had to get some sort of policy for all the people we've had.
Right. Well, and it may be that your policy already covers that comprehensively, but if you haven't seen it, there's a really good PDF that was put together for kind of EdCamp How-To 101, and it talks about event insurance as a common thing that a lot of events do have. So, well, the other volunteer slots that I've got listed are to be in charge of volunteers, somebody to head up sponsors, the pre-event and post-event tweet-ups, registration, breakfast coordination, the insurance policy, and if we wanted to think about a makerspace playground, those were sort of categories. So is there anything anyone on the call would particularly like to volunteer to head up or be a co-lead with?
I will do the tweet-ups, and then
Okay.
I was also looking at maybe trying to see if I could find somebody to get. I mean, I'm wondering if maybe some sandwich shops or something would donate or something for our lunch. So I can maybe make some phone calls about that.
Well, the way that worked in Yukon for the first year for breakfast was there was a sponsor. I mean, in general, and I'm thinking everybody kind of knows this, but we don't want to make it very vendory. And vendors have a real minimal opportunity generally to participate in EdCamp. But one of the ways that they definitely can is by sponsoring something like the meal. So there's a group, and if they're watching this, they'll be mad at me that I don't remember their name. They have a learning management system, and basically they got to welcome everybody and say who they were. Thank you for sponsoring breakfast. But they did the direct payment for the breakfast. So.
So did somebody set up the breakfast first, and then they just kind of basically paid? So if I found something that would go ahead and find a place that would give us a quote.
Right.
Okay.
I think the twist on it, on doing the fixed lunch, is going to be we're going to need to look at our deadline for registrations and have a cutoff for registrations. Certainly a week, but maybe 2 weeks in advance, because we'll need the hard number. 150 box lunches or whatever the number is. Because with breakfast being a little bit more flexible, I mean, we ran out of Chick-fil-A nuggets. Oh well, it was a little different as far as a buffet style thing than if we're doing individual box lunches. So
yeah, definitely.
I think but that's why it's good we're talking earlier, because if we can kind of get that, that's how I would foresee it working, is that we would have a guesstimate that we're going to, let's say 125, and we'll have a cutoff for registration, and 2 weeks out, that's what it is. And so the sponsor is going to know the ballpark of what we're talking about. No more than such and such, like, you know. And by the way, June, what do you think about numbers? And where are you thinking would be a good? Would the auditorium be good, or the cafeteria, or what space-wise at Southmoore do you think would be good for our initial welcome and then the end of the day talk?
The Southmoore has a huge commons area. As soon as you walk in, we feed 600 freshmen in there without any issues.
Okay.
So it's just an open area. So we're gonna have more than 500-600 people.
Oh no, I don't think so.
We'll have plenty of room.
Is there a microphone set up where we can have a mic?
Yes, there'll be a portable mic system. I used to hook that up as an assistant principal there. We'd do Friday dance-offs in there with the kiddos, so yeah,
okay,
it's plenty
great.
Loud.
Okay, awesome. That sounds
There's
good.
a large wall on either side that you can use for your poster boards. So it's a good spot for it.
Okay, great. So, you know, I don't think I think I probably put in 300 or something like that or maybe it was 200 as a registration. I mean, we'll see. You know, I'd be really surprised if we exceed 200. But Broken Arrow had 200, I think, at their EdCamp. I think that's been the largest one that we've had so far. And you know, if we get the word out, especially if we could get a little bit of mainstream media, and I think the more that our larger districts are aware of it, and you know, some of our leaders are you know, talking it up. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, right? It's Saturday. People have to give up their Saturdays. That's not going to be everybody's ball game. But
Well, Broken Arrow, I think, got that many people there because they did really well on getting it out there. They did really well on that. So I think starting this early, we can definitely.
On the topic of marketing, I guess I didn't put that in as a PR marketing. Would anybody, you will not hurt my feelings at all because my design skills are not that great. Anybody have a desire as far as PR and marketing to head that up and want to make a different flyer, or?
What about that goes into with our T-shirt design?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that, thank you, Ann. I think that I have people where I'm at. I'm not that savvy, but I have people that could put it together and connect it with the T-shirt design.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And if you can, if you can get the logo that they create, then we can go ahead and. I mean, they could go ahead and create another flyer. Just take the text that we have, or you know, add to that, and the links are basically, you know, fixed as far as the EdCampOKC.org and the Eventbrite registration. So we can just replace the flyer that we have and have something better to pass along.
Okay.
Anybody else have a desire or interest in a particular committee, or?
I want to help with the makerspace too, though. I've got plenty of ollies and Sphero balls, and I think we're fixing to order a drone, and so
Awesome.
just maybe, and even bring some kids, because I know during Recharge, all of our student council kids, they were obsessed with the Spheros, and now our kids are really introduced to some of the things that it could do and the programming parts of it. So
yeah, and I'd love to learn more about some of those programming pieces. We've got 3 functional, but 4 Spheros, and we've been playing with them, but we haven't done the actual macro, you know, programming and
I think
stuff.
we're up to 50 something Spheros now. We got a bunch off DonorsChoose.org. A bunch of people donated, and our Clinton Foundation donated a lot. So.
Well, and I need to talk to you about what to do with one later that, you know, doesn't seem to be responding. So.
Okay. Yeah, we wanted to do that too.
Okay.
Wes, I'd be up for helping with the makerspace.
Okay.
We have at least one 3D printer that we could bring.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Maybe 2.
That'd be great. Okay, so I'll put you down for that.
We need to have a 3D printer session, because that's a big thing that we're really getting into right now. Yes. Our assistant superintendent, Tyler Bridges, is big, and you know, and there's so much stuff out there for schools, and even for like our robotics teacher, you know, she was like, we're ordering a 3D scanner, and that way when she's missing gears and stuff, she doesn't have to wait for them. She can just, you know, go make them and be done with it. So we definitely need to push that for this one, because it's a big thing right now. So
I'm excited about that. So it'll be great for you guys to kind of take the lead on that, and it might be something where you could have some different groups that would do some presentations, you know, during the day, and just kind of have a schedule that we can post if you want to learn about Spheros, if you want to, kind of like you do at a, at a conference where they've got little mini sessions that happen. So that'll be great. All right, Julie, anything burning on your list that you?
Well, I can help with the registration, and I can try to get some. Not try. I can get some volunteers to help out with whatever we need. So.
Okay. Well, that would be great, because part of that with the volunteers is if we can have you as a contact person, then we'll have your email, and people can touch base with you and see how we want to organize that.
I'll try to reach out within my district and get some volunteers, as well as some folks to help you out. So.
Okay. That sounds good.
We'll chip in there somewhere.
That sounds good.
Okay, I've got to cut out. I hear some major commotion without me in there, so I think my husband may need me. So, are we doing this not till after break again, or?
Right. Well, yeah. You want to? Should we just do something right after the first? Is Thursday good for people, or what is a Tuesday night? What's a better night? I think regular is good if we can kind of set up a.
I'm good with whatever. Just email me and let me know. So I can usually make it work as long as I pin my kids up first. So
okay.
Just kidding. That was a joke. Don't call DHS.
Does anybody else have a preference? Tuesday or Thursday nights?
Thursday's fine with me.
Tuesday and Thursday's the best for me.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we just plan on Thursday and
I know Dan said he teaches on Thursday, so I don't know if that's.
He does. Okay. No, and we would sure like to get him involved. Well, if Tuesdays is equally good, maybe we could just do Tuesdays. I think it's good if we do a standing night, just because that makes it a little more, people don't have to wonder what day it is or whatever.
Right.
So maybe Tuesday the 6th, after we're all back from break and stuff, it can be our next one, and then we may be able to skip a week, and then once we hit the February, maybe I don't know, we'll see, but we may be able to do every other week. So we can put down the 6th for the next one. Does that sound all right?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Tuesday, January 6th. All right. Anything else? Anybody wants to? Like I said, I'll talk on the I'll put myself down for insurance, and our Story Chasers Board meets in another week, and I'll get a couple quotes. If you guys know of a company or something like that to get a quote from or something like that, let me know. But I'll get several and take the lead on that.
I'll also see if I can't talk to my school board members and maybe we'll try to get that waived.
Okay. Well, it's really not a problem. I mean, that's something that a lot of ed camps have done, and that's part of what our organizer team can do as far as getting the sponsorships. The profile that ed camps are having and the desire that vendors have to be have visibility, I think I don't think we'll have a problem. Because I don't think we're talking about anything too ginormous. All right. Well, so we can see if anybody wants to think about sponsorships and our breakfast coordination, and then I guess also for lunch. That may be the same person or it may be different, but we have a few other pieces. But
can I volunteer Jonathan Ashley for all of that?
Yes, we can sign him up for everything.
Okay.
We'll find out what his preference is, and we've got Dan as well as would probably be willing to jump in with something. So I'll share the link and email out to everybody, and then see what else people may want to volunteer for, and then we can twist arms or go hunting for people if we need to as well.
Hey, before you go on the volunteers, what do you need them to be able to do as I reach out and ask for volunteers on this?
Basically, we've got volunteers who are going to initially just take registrations and get people to drop their name in the hat. We usually have some kind of a tech team that's going to just be available to answer questions as far as hooking stuff up, and if you've got some extra video adapters or speakers or something like that. Having people direct traffic, especially in the morning initially, making sure people are knowing where bathrooms are and where those things are. It sounds like the layout's going to be pretty easy as far as where stuff is. Volunteers could make signs to put in the building. At Jinx, or maybe it was Broken Arrow, I think it was Jinx, I mean, they printed name tags and stuff like that. We haven't done that in the past. We've just, had people write name tags on and, put stuff in the hat for the drawing and stuff like that. We've got all the registrations in Eventbrite, so we can, download a templated Avery labels or whatever like that. It just kind of depends on whether we want to be that fancy or not. But if Julie, works with registration and stuff like that, actually this year it would be easier to do that, because if we're going to do lunch and we're going to have a cutoff like 2 weeks in advance,
Right.
That would be easier to get everything printed and do something like
You
that.
can also just print everything, and then the people who didn't get registered in time can just do a handwritten one or whatever. So.
Right. Anything else you guys would say as far as volunteers? Amanda, what else would you say as far as volunteers or needs of on-site?
I thought you covered it pretty well. Just maybe, you talked about directing like to bathrooms and stuff like that, but even signs would work for that if you just announce it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe cleanup, setup, cleanup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely a setup cleanup group would be good. Okay, Jeff, are we forgetting anything?
No, I think you've covered the majority of things.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for your time, and hope everybody has a good holiday. And yay, I'm excited our ball's getting rolling. This isn't an EdCamp related thing, but there is the Google Summit that's happening at Bishop McGuinness the weekend before our EdCamp. So if you know folks that are going Google or have gone Google or something like that, it's like the kind of the polar opposite of our free event. It's like $250 or something like that. So it's not a free thing. But at least we've got some good EdTech PD,
We're
coming.
looking at sending about 23 or 25 people.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Good deal. Well, I'm really excited about the Makerspace stuff. I think that's going to be a great addition, and if we get more students involved there and we get some involved with the media team, I think those will be really good elements to have. So.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here and volunteering, and don't hesitate to reach out if you guys have other questions, and we'll plan to meet again at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, January 6th.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.